Transformative societal impact of FSD. 1. A new era of road safety. Published safety data from billions of miles driven by a vast user base demonstrates FSD's positive impact on accident rates. Currently, FSD is capable of eliminating 70 to 90% of all leading accident causes, including those resulting in fatalities and serious injuries. Imagine the impact of removing 80% of accidents from our roads. What would that look like? Here is that picture. By addressing the root causes of major accidents, FSD can prevent the vast majority of collisions. Current data indicates that FSD technology is capable of improving U.S. road safety by an estimated 80%. This translates to approximately 32,000 lives saved and 1.9 million injuries avoided annually, based on NHTSA data. To give you a better idea, 32,000 lives saved. This is equivalent to the entire population of small cities like Beverly Hills, California, Newport, Rhode Island, or Vail, Colorado, or the combined student and staff body of major public universities such as Harvard or UCLA. 1.9 million injuries avoided. This number of avoided injuries is comparable to the entire population of major U.S. cities like Phoenix, Philadelphia, San Antonio, San Diego, plus major European cities such as Copenhagen, Milan, Munich, Prague, and Brussels. Imagine the profound positive impact this can have on any society. It can save the population of a small city and prevent life-shattering injury for the population of a major one. 2. Profound economic transformation. The current financial toll on society is staggering, offering immense potential for savings. This money is currently spent on accident-related industries, insurance, auto repair, hospitals, litigation, and auto parts, a cost ultimately passed on to taxpayers and consumers. While we often focus only on personal deductibles, insurance companies recover payouts through higher premiums for all, a principle that extends to hospital bills and every other collision-related cost. In essence, the price of each accident is borne by the entire community, including all of us. The scale of potential savings. Significantly lowering accident rate would drastically reduce direct financial burdens and free up massive amounts of capital for productive reinvestment. An 80% reduction in accident costs translates to $272 billion from annual direct cost savings. This substantial saving could be used to fully fund several major federal initiatives instead. What would you do with $272 billion? Here is one as an example. $1.1 trillion from annual societal harm savings. This one is even more staggering. This might be able to even balance our national federal deficit, or rebuild every structurally deficient bridge and road in the country within a 2 to 3 year time frame. That is the scale of economic and financial impact technology like FSD can have on a societal level. Three. Other societal benefits. Beyond the direct impact on road safety and its significant financial benefits, the widespread adoption of full self-driving holds transformative potential for society at large. Key areas of impact include enhancing personal mobility. FSD promises to dramatically expand personal mobility by providing safe and reliable transportation to those currently unable to drive, including the elderly and individuals with disabilities. This newfound access would not only connect people to jobs, healthcare, and essential services, but also foster greater social inclusion and personal autonomy. B. Reclaiming time and reducing stress. By automating daily travel, FSD would reclaim billions of hours lost to commuting. This liberated time could be redirected toward productive work, leisure, or personal well-being. Removing the routine stress and cognitive burden of driving would significantly enhance individual welfare and collective quality of life. C. Reducing burden on public systems. A sharp decline in traffic accidents would also alleviate immense pressure on critical public services, including emergency rooms, long-term care facilities, fire and police departments, and the judicial system. The resulting efficiency gains would free substantial resources for other pressing societal needs. While this overview does not examine each area exhaustively, the cumulative societal benefit, substantiated by current data and projections, is profound. Conclusion. The evidence compels a critical choice. Will we continue to accept the immense annual tragedy and staggering financial cost of human-driven accidents, subsidizing a vast ecosystem of insurance, emergency care, and litigation? Or will we embrace transformative technology like full self-driving? The adoption of FSD is not merely a technological upgrade. It is a moral and economic imperative. It promises to save tens of thousands of lives, unlock trillions of dollars for productive reinvestment, and forge a society where mobility is fundamentally safer, more equitable, and far less wasteful. However, despite its transformative potential, FSD remains heavily constrained across much of the world, including Europe and even the United States. Why is that? Let's begin digging deeper. I hope you're ready for this. A journey to the dark side of the power and control. Despite its revolutionary potential, the global rollout of full self-driving is slow, and public opinion remains skeptical. Why isn't this advanced technology more widely accepted or better received? A critical part of the answer lies in an obscure yet fundamentally important technical standard, SAEJ 3016. This standard provides essential context for the technical and AI challenges involved. However, the bigger picture extends beyond engineering. It is deeply intertwined with politics. Extensive lobbying and the influence of special interest groups in regions like the US and EU have shaped the rules, creating a difficult regulatory environment. This political influence directly ties the impact of the technical standard to real-world policy. SAEJ 3016 is a standardized classification system, a common language, for the automated vehicle sector. Concepts that are now ubiquitous in the industry, such as the 6 levels of autonomy and the foundational arguments in the LiDAR versus vision debate, trace their origins directly to this document. Established in 2014 through a collaboration among major traditional automakers, their suppliers, and tech giants like Google, later Waymo, the standard has undergone major revisions in 2018 and 2021. Notably, Tesla, the developer of the most advanced system, FSD, was not a participant in the SAE committee. Although the document itself is non-binding regarding technical specifications or legal liability, it quickly became the indispensable global framework as regulatory bodies began adopting it as a standard. The flaw in the framework. The J3016 framework, while neutral in its design, gained powerful authoritative status when global regulators incorporated its levels and terms, such as the Operational Design Domain, ODD, the reliance on LiDAR and geofencing, and a modular software architecture, directly into formal safety and certification mandates. Herein lies the core problem. The model presented in SAE J3016 is fundamentally flawed. It was based on the best available technology at the time of its creation, not on a proven, scalable engineering pathway, yet it is now treated as one. This framework proposes a system that requires breakthroughs in AI and hardware that may take a decade or more, all at a cost that makes mass adoption practically impossible. This status quo, however, perfectly serves the interests of those who benefit from maintaining business as usual. Tesla's counter-approach and the subsequent conflict. Tesla was the one company to recognize this limitation from the outset. They pioneered a practical, affordable solution designed to function universally in the real world, rather than being restricted to limited geofenced zones. Starting with a basic ADAS near SAE Level 2, they consistently drove its evolution toward their ultimate goal: full self-driving, FSD, a true automated system intended to replace a human driver in all situations, without the burden of a $150,000 plus price tag. This innovative vision was immediately met with fierce opposition from the legacy industry. This resistance was channeled through political and regulatory means, peaking during the Biden administration, and continues to influence media coverage and public perception. The coordinated campaign against Tesla's FSD. Political motive, regulatory tactics, and public narrative. 1. The political foundation, the incumbent preference. A recurring pattern emerges when a political party aligns itself with established, unionized industrial incumbents.
The UAW elected me.
The administration in power often establishes a clear political and industrial preference for these legacy entities over a disruptive, non-unionized market and technology leader. This motive, prioritizing political allies over pure market or technological leadership, forms the foundation for a multi-front campaign. It is typically broadcast through unmistakable public signals, such as the 2021 EV Summit snub. Tesla was conspicuously excluded from a White House summit on electric vehicles, while all major legacy competitors, GM, Ford, Stellantis, and the United Auto Workers, UAW, union were invited.
The president is deliberately leaving Tesla out of the conversation?
This is a tricky one, Em. I mean, look, it's actually quite clear. This is politics. According to White House sources, Joe Biden's made no secret about his support from the unions, and he needs that union support. Michigan is a state where the Democratic Party can win. GM and Ford are legacy automakers with a long and rich history of union assembly workers, and Tesla's not. It pays its workers really well through equity compensation. But, Biden is clearly looking at this thinking, okay, I need the support of the traditional base that work at these companies. And that's kind of what we're hearing from the White House sources we're speaking to.
I write in the book that I thought it was a big mistake to not invite Elon Musk when we did a big EV event. I mean, here he is, the major American manufacturer of extraordinary innovation in this space. And the fact that he was not invited was just on merit. When a president of the United States, I believe, has to put aside political loyalties when they get in the way of what is actually and should be a source of pride for us as Americans that we're creating that technology and innovation.
Not long after that,
Hello, Detroit!
Biden went out of his way to credit GM with leading the electric vehicle revolution.
You electrified the entire automobile industry. I'm serious. You led, and it matters.
This sent a stark political message about which entities the administration viewed as legitimate partners. President Biden's direct praise of GM CEO, Mary Barra, for industry leadership explicitly ignored Tesla's foundational and dominant role in electrification, reinforcing a narrative that prioritizes the established, unionized industrial base. 2. The regulatory mechanism. Weaponizing standards via political appointees. This political motive was operationalized through politically appointed officials in key regulatory agencies. Their primary tool has been the strategic use of the SAE J3016 Levels of Automation framework, a standard created by the legacy auto industry, to systematically disadvantage Tesla. Officials like former NHTSA advisor Missy Cummings and NTSB chair Jennifer Homendy, both Biden appointees, have consistently leveraged J3016 to categorically label Tesla's FSD as a misleading Level 2 system. This rhetorical move does more than classify, it disqualifies. By insisting on this narrow classification, regulators and their allies can dismiss Tesla's vision-based pathway to autonomy as technically unserious and rhetorically box out its advancements from the official conversation about true self-driving, Level 3+, creating a significant regulatory and perception roadblock. 3. The public narrative, selectively framing safety to amplify risk. With the technology rhetorically sidelined by J3016, the campaign shifts to shaping public perception of safety through a biased investigatory and communications strategy. The goal is to create a damaging impression of risk that lacks crucial context. Headline-driven investigations. The NHTSA routinely publicizes probes into Tesla crashes involving driver assist features, often opened without clear justification. Media coverage then frequently conflates a crash involving a Tesla with a crash caused by Tesla automation, generating damaging headlines. Systematic omission of context. Crucially, the NHTSA does not provide a public, comparative database of crash rates across all manufacturers' driver assistance systems. This allows Tesla, which has the largest active fleet and the highest utilization rate of such technology, to be judged solely on its raw incident numbers, stripped of the context of its billions of miles driven. Despite Tesla's own published data showing a superior safety record compared to the national average, a narrative of uniquely significant or alarming numbers is artificially sustained. Conclusion. A coherent, multi-front campaign. These elements are not isolated. They form a coherent pattern. A political motive to favor legacy, unionized automakers. A regulatory tactic using a legacy-derived standard, executed by political appointees, to disqualify Tesla's technological approach. A public narrative that selectively amplifies incidents while withholding the comparative data needed for fair public assessment. Together, this three-pronged campaign handicaps Tesla simultaneously in the competitive technological landscape, the regulatory arena, and the court of public opinion, slowing its advancement on all fronts. In an ideal world, our government and regulators would serve the public's interest. Unfortunately, that is not the reality. This leads to a critical question for us all to ponder. Given the immense potential benefits of an autonomous driving system like FSD, and assuming user safety and societal benefit are the sole objectives of government agencies and regulators, how should such a system be evaluated, approved, and governed for deployment? Here is my thought on this question. A functional framework should establish a universal, performance-based safety benchmark, a driver's test for AIs. This test would measure real-world outcomes, disengagement rates, collision avoidance, and adherence to traffic laws across a standardized set of challenging scenarios. Think about how we license human drivers. We certify them based on demonstrated competency, not their anatomy or learning method. The DMV doesn't require 20/5 vision, LiDAR. It doesn't demand you have every road memorized from a photographic atlas, HD maps/geofencing. It certainly doesn't need a neuroscientist to map your brain's decision-making pathways, explainable AI/modular architecture, before issuing a license. You prove you can operate a vehicle safely by passing a standardized performance test. Yet for autonomous vehicles, the emerging regulatory framework, scaffolded onto the SAEJ 3016 taxonomy, does the exact opposite. It attempts to mandate the anatomy, specific sensors like LiDAR, the learning method, pre-mapping and geofencing, and the mental architecture, modular, explainable software, as prerequisites. This creates a profound and illogical double standard. Human driver certification, performance-based. Can you drive safely here and now? Current AI driver certification, design-based. Is your system built the way we, influenced by incumbent industry practices, have decided it should be built? This regulatory approach is not only restrictive but fundamentally flawed if the true goal is to develop a highly competent driver, not merely a vehicle that follows bureaucratic rules. It mistakenly prioritizes adherence to a technical plan over actual real-world capability and success. Tesla's full self-driving system, FSD, is being criticized, not based on the rigorous billion-mile road test it successfully undergoes daily, but because it refuses to comply with an outdated, pre-approved training manual. A manual that the most advanced student in the class has clearly surpassed. Promethean fire. In Greek mythology, Prometheus, a titan, showed compassion for humanity by giving them fire against the will of the gods. For this pivotal, civilizing act, he was subjected to eternal punishment. This narrative has echoed throughout history. A transformative Promethean gift is delivered, only to be immediately met with retaliation and prosecution from the established power. Gutenberg printing press was suppressed by authorities fearing enlightened masses. This invention shattered the monopoly on knowledge, democratizing learning and igniting revolutions in religion, science, and politics that forged the modern world. Centuries later, Dr. Semmelweis's advocacy for antiseptic hand washing introduced the revolutionary and life-saving idea that invisible pathogens cause disease and can be stopped by simple hygiene, hand washing, which can drastically reduce death rates in maternity wards. Again, a truth that was ridiculed and rejected by the medical establishment of his time because it suggested that doctors' own hands were instruments of death. His persecution, a rejection that culminated in his forcible commitment to an asylum, where he died in torment, preceded the vindication of his methods, which later became the non-negotiable foundation of modern surgery, obstetrics, and hospital sanitation, saving countless millions of lives. Nikola Tesla's system of alternating current, AC, overcame the severe distance limitations of direct current, DC, enabling the efficient, long-distance transmission of electrical power that made universal electrification possible. However, commercial rivals and a system that put profit over progress sabotaged its early adoption through ruthless oppositions and slanders, which was later coined as the War of the Currents. Eventually, Tesla's AC system became the undisputed invisible backbone of the modern electrical grid, powering entire cities, industries, and the technological civilization that defines our world today. Today, Tesla's full self-driving, FSD, faces the same resistance. It is a new Promethean fire, offering life-saving potential and transformative benefits for users and society. Yet it is opposed by a powerful coalition, legacy automakers and their suppliers, who defines and controls regulators and politicians to protect their business models, insurance industries built on human driver actuarial tables, and a public swayed by media sensationalism and fear of the new. Is history about to repeat itself? Are we witnessing another Promethean episode? FSD is fundamentally a life-saving technology. This gift of life should not be compromised or systematically delayed, at the cost of human suffering and needless expense, simply to grant legacy automakers time to catch up or secure their profit. Furthermore, we must not tolerate the wasteful expense that burdens citizens due to this obstruction. The current regulatory apparatus, which is riddled with deep ties to legacy auto, its lobbyists, and their political allies, must be prevented from using public funds and resources to enrich themselves at the public's expense. We demand the approval of FSD. If not, the regulatory bodies must be reformed, and any politicians and public officials who enable this corruption and manipulation must be removed from power.
FSD gives me time for meal and get organized in the morning.
Mit FSD kann ich überall hin alleine reisen. Ich liebe es.
FSD enables me for a long road trip any time of the day and season.
FSD me donne la liberté de voyager seule. Merci.
I drive Cybertruck on FSD, and he recently stayed in me.
Is when you're in one of those towns or cities you have no idea how to navigate, you just let FSD do it, and it goes and reaches your destination.
Approve FSD. FSD saves lives.